Hey, we are live. Hurry up, Dexter. What you doing?
7, 5, 3, 0.
Hey, everyone. It is Wednesday. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key, and we are selling Sacramento. On today's show, the subject matter is what to do until housing finds you. That title hit me for today's segment. There's a book called What to Do Until Love Finds You. And the premise of the book, of course, being wait on love. It's coming, but prepare because it's going to come one day. That's how the housing market is right now.
I agree.
Wait on it, y'all. It's coming. But until it comes for you. And this is, again, back to the premise of what to do till love finds you. There is a love for everyone who desires it. There is a house for everyone who desires it. You don't need to be anxious for it. You don't need to jump ahead of it. You don't need to try to make it happen some kind of other way. Prepare for it the right way. And when it's time, you'll be able to easily pull the trigger. Why am I saying that? Because for a few reasons. My guest on the show today is Mr. Eddie Johnson, and he is the branch manager of Premier Mortgage Resources.
Yep, located in Roseville.
And he's been on the show before. He's one of my lender partners. If y'all go to my website and under the buyers tab, agentkey.com, under buyers, it says lenders and the drop down menu, and you'll see Eddie's contact information on that list. He is one of my go-to lender partners. And if you've ever worked with Eddie before, you'll understand why he's a lender partner of mine. He's not only extremely resourceful, all of my lender partners have to meet a set of 3 criteria. They have to respond quickly to my clients, meaning they have to have some kind of process in place in which they do that. They have to have a communication line and process in how they communicate with the clients on a regular basis throughout, so that the clients are constantly hearing from them. And then they also have to educate the clients about the process so that the clients are not trying to figure out what happens next. And all of my lender partners exceed those. That's just like the bare minimum. You would think that's the bare minimum, but you'd be surprised at how many lenders don't meet that set of criteria. But the thing that's significant about Eddie is that Eddie is like a computer when it comes to the mortgage process, resources, information. He's always working. His mind is always trying to figure it out. And it's almost like his personality type. And I love that about him. And as a result, he has done things for some of my clients that are just unimaginable. He's gotten them loans and money. And he has even, and this is when you know the ultimate consummate professional is one who is willing to walk away from a transaction, refer it to another lender, just so that the client gets what they need. And I've seen him do that more than one time. And so for that reason, I appreciate him. I refer him often. And I'm glad that you're able to take time out of your schedule to be here today. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And not only that, there's more. Eddie's company is also one of the sponsors of Anchor Financial Academy, which is the financial literacy conference that we are having at the end of this month. So if you go to anchorfinancialacademy.org, you can register. And today we will actually be giving away a free registration plus a goodie bag, a grab bag. If you're watching online, I'm showing you, this is the goodie bag that you'll get if you are the correct either caller, or if you're watching us online, if you answer the question correctly. You got to listen to the show from the beginning all the way to the last segment. We're going to ask the question in the last segment. Oops. So I just dropped the book. But if you get it right, you'll get a free registration. You will get an Anchor Financial Academy t-shirt. It's right here. It's pretty cool. If you're online looking, you'll see how cool it is. And had to get it off the ground because it fell out of the goodie bag. You will get a copy of DeForest B. Soares Jr.'s book, Say Yes to No Debt. If you're watching online, you can see the book. All of that comes in a free goodie bag, 12 Steps to Financial Freedom. You will get that, including the registration today. If you answer the question, there will be a quiz question at the end of today's show. If you get it right, you'll win a free registration to the event on March 25th and 26th, including this swag bag for the event, which also includes hand sanitizer and other little goodies as well. So we want to get started, though, on today's show. The housing market. Eddie, interest rates started going up. The past couple of days, something significant has happened.
It did. The financial infrastructure, we're a world market, and we've discussed that before.
Your mic.
No, you're good. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We're in a world market. So anything that happens in the world affects us here locally also. So everything that's going on in Europe has drastic effects. A lot of what we interpret to happen to our markets, we reference based off of past experiences. So you'll see markets change or hesitate or slow down and say, okay, I need to see what's going to happen.
Right.
And that's a lot of what happened before. So whenever we have times of where there's talk of war, the way people invest is different. So you look at long-term investments versus short-term investments different. So normally when we get in times of conflict, you look at long-term securities, mortgage bonds, and when stuff like that happens, people invest differently, rates get better.
So that's why we are seeing mortgage rates drop just in the past couple of days.
We did, but then after Powell's speech this morning, it went the opposite direction.
Okay, see, I didn't even get that part. And see, that's just how close his ear is to the ground. That is one of the main. Did y'all just hear that? So I came in with information that I thought was so brand new. Past 2 days, interest rates are down. Eddie's like, oh no, but this morning things changed.
Yeah.
And so if you are not that close, if you are this is why I tell people who want to be both a real estate professional and in mortgages, that is a very gray line, because you've got to be very tuned in to both areas at the same time. And we've heard of the phrase, jack of all trades, master of none. So I appreciate the fact that you just schooled me. Like, no, Keisha, things have changed.
Yeah. I have a lot of business partners that I work with, actually some that I'm working with through transactions at this point in time. And one specifically, we had to do an extension just for time purposes. And he was getting ready to accept some disclosures and called me and said, rates dropped. I'm like, yeah, but we locked in last month. And I told him, though, I was like, but I'm not against working. We'll compare the two.
Yeah.
And we compared from when we actually secured the rate lock that date to where we were after we dropped.
Yeah.
And we were basically the same that day, that time from the original lock date. So even though rates had gotten better, he didn't take into fact that rates had gotten worse.
By the time he locked in. Wow. And then that's the other important piece, is that as we are talking about rates, when people who are potential buyers, as you hear these terms about interest rates, what you want to be aware of is that that's not the rate that you will get until your rate get what's called locked in.
Correct.
And for the rate to be locked in, Eddie, can you explain to them what that means?
Yes, I can get technical.
That's right.
Try to
That's
keep
right.
it easy.
You say it in your in Eddie explanation, and then I'll put it in layman's terms
Okay.
if needed. You'll do fine.
An advertised rate on any specific given day is what that rate is on that specific day and time. It's not necessarily what it is tomorrow. So when they advertise that, or when you talk to the representative you're working with, they say, okay, as of today, this time, this is what we have available. We can secure this for you.
Mm-hmm.
That is your option. Or we can wait to see what happens. And I have clients on both sides of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
But if we secure that for you, that is what we are securing for you.
Mm-hmm.
So tomorrow, if the rates get a little bit better, we've already secured a specific position.
Now, how does that position get secured? With a contract, or can they pay to have it secured, or what locks that rate in?
Every mortgage company is a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Some will actually have a locked fee, so they charge you a specific amount. Some don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a verbal confirmation that I have from my clients, or an email that says, yes, based off of this scenario you sent, let's go ahead and secure that rate as of today.
Okay.
So it on our side, it's basically us telling our lock desk, we have a whole secondary market that secures that specific rate for us
Mm-hmm.
as of that date and time.
And I did hear you say, but you are open to revisiting it if that rate changes for the better for the client. Let's say, for example, when they apply, they get their rate locked in at one thing, but then when they actually get an accepted offer, can they revisit the rate?
There are different ways we can approach that.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have what are called one-time float downs. There's a conventional 30-year fix that you price, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just say that rate is, I'm going to use for all intents and purposes 4%. That's an average rate today.
Oh, okay.
An extended rate lock with an optional float down is a whole different product. So that start rate might actually be 4.375 versus if I lock today for 30 days or 60 days at 4%. So it's a different value. But within 30 days of close, that one-time float down option within 30 days of close, we can go based off of today's rate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One time float down. Yes, correct. But that start value is different. The benefit to that product is say you're in a new build, and I've got several clients that have started the process early January. Mm-hmm. Their homes aren't going to be due till June or so.
Yeah, 90 or 120 days out or something.
And they're like, I'm confused. I don't know where we started at 325 and here we are at 425. Mm-hmm. Should I do an extended rate lock? I was like, I can only tell you the pros and cons.
Yeah, yeah.
And some are taking advantage of it. Mm-hmm. They're doing the extended rate lock. For us to do that, there's an initial upfront charge. It's actually a check you have to write. Mm. That secures that 4.375 versus today's rate of 4%. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But that guarantees that's the highest rate you will get.
Mm-hmm. If you have to wait 6 months out for your home to be constructed, because we don't know 6 months from now what rates might look like, you know that when your home is done, that's going to be your rate.
Worst case scenario. And if rates are better, again, you get the one-time float down within 30 days of close.
Mm-hmm. So you got some options there.
Yeah, you have options. And that's what a lot about being prepared, being ready is. Mm-hmm. If you walk down the street and it's an existing build, and you had in the back of your mind eventually, I want to buy a house eventually. Mm-hmm. If you walk by a house, oh my gosh, this is one I can see myself, I can see my family. Yeah. This is where I can start my future. Would you be ready?
We're going to talk about that. We're going to take a break. That was an excellent segue, by the way.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to talk about how to get ready. Because even though the market is tight right now, and if you're a buyer out there and you're trying to buy, I've got some words of encouragement for you. And we are going to talk about hope on the show. Hope for home ownership. What to do till housing finds you. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key, and we'll be right back. That was a great segue. Hey, you guys, thank you for tuning in. Let's see. Continue with great info. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are going to bring it today because this is a time. This is one of those times I think about the stock market. This is probably a great time. Not probably. Everything's on sale. Everything's on sale. And so when you think I think about that saying that when the crowd is running this way, you go the other way. And the thought process behind that is that the majority of people always do what's popular, but it's not always necessarily expedient or good.
Yeah.
And so if you really sit back and look at how to get ahead, if you think about those people who are ahead, how that percentage is so much smaller than the amount of people who are not, then you can say practically the people that are not are probably in the masses. They're probably the ones that are doing things based off of 30-second sound bites.
It is. And there's a lot of people that don't necessarily share that information, not because they're not trying to, but they just know it to be a specific case. A lot of people that have large resources, they pay people to do it for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's somebody's job, is making somebody else money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you have a lot of money, incrementally, if that person that you're paying knows what they're doing, they're going to continue to make you money, but at the same time they're making money, or at the same time they're making money, they're making you money.
And they're not necessarily, like you said, passing that information down.
Yeah.
And so that's why shows like this exist, and they're few, far and in between, because we're bringing this kind of information back to our audience to say, look, don't panic, prepare.
Mm-hmm.
There's something you can be doing right now, because as long as you wake up the next day, that's one more day leading towards the opportunity that's eventually going to come your way. Builders, it's not like builders have stopped building. They are building
Aggressively
now, a lot more aggressively. And those are the things that aren't being talked about, is the number of laws and policies that went into effect before COVID that builders are now ramping up on, especially now that we're coming out of quarantine and mandates are being lifted, and the supply chain, demand, those supply chains they're finding new ways, or they're opening up or easing, and there's always going to be bumps, but there's still things that are happening towards more inventory coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Your bag again.
I'm sorry?
Come back, the bag you gotta give away and all that kind of stuff.
What do you want me to do?
I want you to mention it again.
Oh, okay, producer. All right.
Live.
Hey everyone, we're back. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key with my very special guest, Mr. Eddie Johnson of Premier Mortgage Resources. And today's show, we are talking about what to do till housing finds you. And before we went on break, Eddie made a great segue, where he said there are steps that you can take while you wait. And during the break, we were talking about inventory and the builders, and I mentioned we had several laws and policies that actually took effect last year and a couple this year that the builders have now ramped up on and are increasing they're building at a tremendous speed now. I went down a couple different blocks in Elk Grove at separate times, acres and acres, probably hundreds of acres of land. I'm thinking specifically right off of, is it Sheldon, where Sheldon turns into Center Parkway? That long, if you go down off of 99, Sheldon, and then I can't recall the cross street, but if you are driving past Winco on Sheldon and headed towards Center Parkway, all of that land, it's over 100-something acres. It has to be. And I think the builder is KB Homes. I'm not sure. I didn't look that closely. But what once was vacant field for years and years and years, they have now plumbed it out. There are tractors out there. And every week I pass by, there's something different is happening out there. They're building houses.
If you go the opposite direction, Watt Avenue, you pass North Highlands, which for all intents and purposes hasn't been the most expensive area, obviously, in Sacramento area. But you drive through it, if you get to the end, it used to be nothing but cow pastures. But now it's all brand new home. It's actually Roseville. You go through North Haven's, you
It's
get to
connecting.
Roseville.
Yeah. See, and it's tying all together. And this is within the past year. Yes. So if you think about the problem, and let's go back, the problem as to why why housing prices are so high is simply supply and demand. But to break it down even further, why? Why is that happening? Because we had a very booming economy where there were not only a lot of jobs created, but there were jobs created where they are not low wage earning jobs. They are livable wage earning jobs and higher. And so people are making better money. And we were talking about that before the show. It's all relative too, because it depends on who you ask.
Correct. Yeah, there's different income classes. They want to get into the different stages, but inflation is up 5 to 6%. But there's certain income classes that have actually had an increase in pay at 9 to 10%, which is higher and faster than what inflation is. Which, for housing purposes, if you look at it from a rate environment in which we were, it gave people an opportunity to enter the housing market where they wouldn't have been able to purchase before.
Right.
So those home prices, I'll say 3 to 500. I used to say first-time home buyers were in that 250 to 350, but that you're hard pressed to find something in the greater Sacramento area for that price point.
Yeah.
And if you do find it at that 350 price point, we're in for some work. So you better have a good team put together to help, plead your case.
You better call Eddie.
It's like going to court.
Yeah, you're right. You got to put together a whole package, but it's possible. And that's what this show is about today. And to Eddie's point, with those incomes increasing, you factor that with COVID happening. COVID was just a game changer on all kinds of levels, psychologically, mentally, physically, financially, emotionally.
Yeah.
It made you just rethink your whole life. And with that came a lot of employers saying, you don't even have to you can't come into the office. We as a company now have to figure out how to make this company continue to work without you being physically here. And a lot of companies did that. A large amount of major companies figured it out. And when they figured it out, it meant that their employers could work from home.
Well, not only that, you have, and this goes just back into economic issues that we have right now. When COVID hit, you had everything get locked down. You had supply chains have workforces that couldn't go to work. That didn't mean people stopped living. So people revamped. People got money from the government for a little bit of time. People used that money to better themselves, put themselves in a position to where something happened.
Go back to school or whatever.
So there was a lot of jobs that may have been out of reach before, but some people went back to school. Some people re-educated. Some people found a different trade. Now they're in positions to where they make different money, which in turn also has caused an issue with the workforce, where we don't have people that had specific jobs before going back to those jobs because they're doing something different now,
right?
Which is causing inflation also.
Right. And so with that, and we were talking earlier about that's the purpose for this show today, is to bring this kind of information on this show, because these are the types of data that we aren't seeing in the news feeds that we're watching. This listening audience, the majority of the listening audience, or people in minority communities, this is not the information that's being pushed out to us. But this is the kind of information that we need, because we need to know that this is a time where you do want to take advantage of the opportunity to upgrade yourself. Take advantage of this downtime opportunity, and I'm calling it downtime just in reference to how slow properties hitting the market, the availability of being able to purchase. Consider it downtime for you to get yourself together, do what you need to do to position yourself to be a homeowner. We need to be having conversations on a regular basis as we see each other on the street instead of looking at each other in a negative perspective, look at your brother or sister and say, that's a future homeowner right there.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of conversations that we need to have so that we're constantly, are you a homeowner? If not, well, why not? What do you need to do? What do you need? Because I want to give you the resource. Do you need to get your credit better? Do you need some down payment assistance money? Do you need to increase your skill set? Do you need to look into a better trade so you can be making more money?
Yeah, for home purchase, I mean, or refinance or anything in finance. It could be a car purchase for that matter. A lot of three categories that are looked at are income, assets, and credit. Look, if your income, you have income to support what you're trying to finance, we're good, right? Think of yourself as the bank. That's the easiest way, and that's the best way to look at getting ready. For me, is like, hey, look, if I was coming to you to borrow $300,000, what is going to be the determining factor that is going to allow you to give me that? You're going to want to know if I can afford it. Credit is your track record. It's your ability to pay, right? And whatever those terms are going to be met. Assets is the way you enter into a contract and or secure the financing that you need in order to get that specific product. So we've been talking about employment and potentially bettering yourself to make more money. Assets specifically, I deal with assets for a lot of clients that are self-employed. Assets make a big difference on being ready for some type of financial opportunity. The way you deposit your money, specifically if you're a self-employed borrower, there's new products coming to the table to where we can average deposits into a bank for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months. Some people don't deposit money. You're self-employed, keep in your pocket cash what you need, you only deposit what you need to deposit into the bank. Well, you can always take money out, but you can't always put money in that you don't have.
Right.
So if you're that person that files taxes a specific way to where we can't prove the income, that deposit might be a way we can go. There's other programs that are now concentrating more on credit. So if there's anything specific on your credit that's glaring, that you can talk to somebody about, let's make that move. It's always worthwhile to know. And I'm not talking about Credit Karma. Nothing against it, because it's a free route and it's a valid way to keep tabs on the fluctuations in credit scores. But there's 3 types of credit scores. You have consumer credit, you have auto credit, and you have mortgage credit, which we use, which is called a tri-merge credit report.
And tri-merge meaning Experian, Equifax.
Yes and no. So an auto credit report more heavily weighs on different factors. They look at your past pay history on your autos, any repossessions, any things like that. So your consumer credit report might be a 680, but then you pull an auto credit report and they say, oh, congratulations, you're plus 720. No, I just looked at it. What's the difference? They're weighing different factors. So a consumer credit report, it's kind of a generalized piece. They do look at time with cards, how you paid it, how your credit line utilization is. It takes all that into effect. It's like a generalization. A mortgage credit report more heavily weighs pay history on past mortgages and rents that have reported to your credit. And yes, there are rental companies out there that will report to your credit on a monthly basis. And then at a different level from a consumer credit report, credit line utilization is key in mortgage credit reports or tri-merge credit reports. There's not an exact method to it. Some people say, pay it down, your debt down to 30% of your available credit. Well, 30% might be a good number, but it might be a bad number if you just opened your cards a month ago. So time having available credit to you along with credit line utilization, along with past pay history on mortgages and or rents that have reported on credit, or how a score is accumulated.
That's interesting that you brought that up, because that's usually the number that I advise people, is that 30% mark. But I didn't realize that. And when you said it, it makes sense. So then to that point, would you recommend that for someone to really make a clear determination as to what steps they should be taking is that they meet with someone like yourself
Yeah,
for that
you
kind of
have to.
reason.
You
Yeah.
have to. There's only one company that I found that I'm not advertising for anybody, but myfico.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's $40 per month. I pay it month in, month out,
Mm-hmm.
where it actually will show you the 3 different scores. It'll show you consumer credit, auto credit, and mortgage credit.
Okay.
It's the only one I found to do that.
Okay.
I like, again, the consumer credits you can get through Credit Karma, through Capital One, through all these guys, and they say, check your credit score out. That's going to be different from what we're looking at.
Okay.
So
That's a great point to bring up because we often talk about how Credit Karma, it's not the Bible of credit score keeping. And so you definitely shouldn't rely on it when you're trying to weigh whether or not you qualify for a mortgage. But that, like you said, it is a good gauge because the indicators, as they go up and down, it's telling you something about your credit usage. But you're recommending, or you're saying that the only place that you found readily available for people is at myfico.com, where they can get the consumer credit score, auto credit, and mortgage credit, which
Right.
are the 3 that you all consider when someone's
it's
looking
the
for a
3
mortgage.
that you will use in any credit aspect of life. We
Okay.
use the mortgage credit report or the tri-merge, but the other 2 are available there too,
Okay.
along with this one. So you
Got
can
it.
see all the 3 different ones. A lot of people get confused when I say 3 different type of bureaus. They think Equifax, TransUnion,
Yeah, that's what when you said
Experian are the 3
tri-merge.
different types. No,
Yeah.
I'm talking about the different platforms for the 3 different types.
Okay. And so with that being said, I'm thinking that as we're talking about how to prepare and what you should do, then one of the things that I am recommending that you do to our listening audience and our watching audience, that you schedule some time to talk to a preferred lender partner, someone who is highly skilled and highly trained. They're not trying to get you into a house today. You can call them and say, I am thinking about home ownership. My credit score is 300. I'm unemployed, but I just want to position myself to buy. Then lenders like Eddie, who are not in it, who are not just on the phone with you because if you're not hot, if you're not ready to close escrow tomorrow, they don't want to work with you. They really want to take the time to educate you, to get you on track to saying, okay, here's what you need to do. Because we've had lots of people, but potential buyers that we work with, where once Eddie has ran the numbers, he comes back and he says, hey, the credit is good. You know, the job, they've been on their job a long time, but the income is just not there. And not that they don't qualify, they qualify for 125. Keisha's going to be tough. And I just like, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to buy, can we do mobile housing or something? But in other words, if you don't even know that you qualify for the 125, if you don't sit down and have the conversation with Eddie, because now at that point you can say, maybe you didn't even know. And you can say, oh, that's all I'm working on this job for 5 years, thinking that I'm going to be eligible to buy a home and not realizing that you need to be making more money. So Eddie can't change that. He's telling you your scores are good. The time on the job is great, but you're not making enough money. So now you get to decide, okay, let me go get another job. Eddie, I'll see you in 12 months,
Yeah, in a lot of the conversations I have, and I'm looking at a comment right here, and things look good for the most part, but I just don't have the extra assets to be able to save my down. It doesn't mean that you don't have the conversation, because there's different ways we are able to come up with assistance that might be able to help.
Yeah.
County and city loan limits went up this last year. What went up with that was the amount of assistance, because we can do larger limits
good.
also, which gives you more assistance. So there's still ways to get it done.
So all of those traditional pieces are still in place, and it sounds like you're saying they're increasing as the economy increases.
The markets increase. Yeah, everybody's trying to adjust with it. Again, it goes back to the supply and demand. Are we able to find something that works? Because everybody else is adjusted, but we just don't have the inventory.
Right.
That's why we want to stay ready.
I want to point back out something that you said a while back, just to, put a frame on it. The financial snapshot that you are looking at when you take an application is income, assets, and credit.
Correct.
Income, assets, and credit. How much money you're making, how much money you have saved in the bank, and what your credit score looks like. Income, assets, and credit. That's the financial snapshot that you're looking for. And I'm saying that for a reason 2-3 times. Everybody listening and everybody watching.
Yeah, there's there's more savvy people that are homeowners that have money sitting in the bank that may want to buy investment properties. We have people that are still buying today in the investment market.
Yeah. I think I told a story about my client who bought a house in 2008 for $300,000. That house is now worth $900,000. They refinanced that house, took money out of it, and have now closed on 2 investment properties that they put to work now for them. And it's a part of their retirement package. So if you are listening and you have a home that has equity in it, now is the time to put that kind of money to work for you.
Yeah.
If you're able to get
if you have the down payment, but maybe don't have the income to qualify, there's programs, they call them debt service ratio loans, the DSCR. But as long as the down or the total monthly payment is being covered by the rents, which will actually show on the appraisal, I don't need anything else.
Boom,
You
there
just
it
need a
is.
FICO score.
So that income counts as their income. The income the house would be making with the rents is now counted as their income.
Yeah.
Did y'all hear that?
From an investor standpoint, it's all risk associated. And if you have enough rents coming in to make that payment, what type of risk is that an investor truly taking?
And we were talking about it, getting an additional job. And one of our viewers, Cece, said, yes, having 2 jobs saved me. My debt to income ratio was high based on my student loans. And I know that she became a homeowner. I think it's probably been almost 2 years ago. So congratulations on that. I want to, if she can confirm, but I believe that that's what happened. And so we just really, sometimes we have to do what we need to do. If you got to get that second job, renting, and I hate saying things after the fact. Rents now are so high, but how long have we been beating that drum about the problem with paying somebody else's rent? When we become complacent about a thing such as that, now that's why we're in the spot or the predicament that we're in. When we don't take advice from the right people and pull the trigger when we should, we look back and now we're in a situation where we look back and say, oh, shoot, I wish I would have done. Well, now is that time. Now is the time that you are hearing us say, get ready. Look into the second or third job. Look into elevating your skill set. If you have a home that has equity, look into calling someone like Eddie, sitting down and having that conversation about how to get that money out and make it work for you. These are tools that you can actually put in place. And 5 years from now, 10 years from now, an opportunity will present itself and you'll be ready to pull the trigger because it's coming. Opportunity is out there every day, all the time. It's just a matter of our own individual preparation, state of preparation. And so we're talking about refinancing and purchasing. What does the arena of refinance look like right now?
It's always a talking point with me. I like refinance. I love improving your financial position. It's tough for me to continue to help clients refinance over and over and over because I don't like to see equity stripping. That to me it hurts.
So what do you mean when you say that? Because I always tell people when they refinance, I tell them only refinance. First of all, look into refinancing after you purchase within the first few years, because after 5 years of paying on your mortgage, you've been putting a ton of money, throwing a ton of money at that interest rate if you've not been intentionally throwing money at the principal. And as soon as you refinance, that clock starts all over again. And now you're back to paying on that interest.
Yeah, even the clock. I'm okay with the clock
Mhm.
sometimes, but it's the level. So like I'll have clients that I help buy a house, and they may have not used me, but then they come back to me 4 or 5 years later, and they say, "Hey, they need to pull some cash out." I'm like, "Okay, let's look at the full picture. What are we trying to achieve?" They're like, "I want to pay off some debt, or I want to put a pool in my backyard." Okay, great. I know we purchased a house 5 years ago. Let's look at the full picture
Mhm.
and pull the title profile, and they've refinanced twice.
Mm.
So
And
I see
for which reason was it does
debt
it matter
payoff.
whether or not? Okay, so not necessarily to even get in a good interest rate.
It wasn't even their interest rate. They were improving their financial position, but then they went from a financed amount of 320 to a
Mhm.
financed amount of 350 and a
Right.
financed amount of 375. Now they
Wow.
want to pull out more. Nothing wrong with it. I mean, if you're continually improving yourself and you got an increase in your annual income went from 65,000 to 85,000 tonight, and you can afford it, and you're taking care of your family, you're putting
Mhm.
yourself in a better position,
Mhm.
and the opportunity presents itself, then great. But if we're continuing making 65,000 and we're charging up our debts continuously, refinancing to pay off the same debts and doing the same circle, you're going to get to a point to where you can't borrow against
You're
the house anymore,
overextending yourself.
and you're pinched.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And now if the economy goes down, your house is no longer available for you if you have a real economic need.
Mm-hmm. And that's always a tough conversation for me because I don't want to tell anybody that, hey, look,
Call me, I'll tell.
let's take a step back because I want to solve the problem. But what is the problem?
But that's the tough conversation that we really need to be having with people.
Yeah.
You know, we got to really be looking at the long-term picture because what you just said, I've seen that happen to people. I've seen people who've owned homes for 30 years, Eddie, lose their homes because of what you just said. They're not making any new money, but they keep refinancing that house to the tilt, treating it like an ATM, taking it out to do whatever, and not even necessarily making improvements on the home. Or when they do make improvements on the home, it's DIY and it's all jacked up. It's like that's not sellable.
Yeah.
You know, these are the kinds of conversations we need to really be having with people.
Yeah.
If you're going to, it's our responsibility to teach people how to treat their houses in a way that's going to impact their bottom line to actually build wealth and not strip it away.
Correct. And then there's the other side of the spectrum too. I did this for my father. I think I told you about this one. He was working for Los Angeles City Fire Department, and he signed up for another 5 years, and then he was going to retire. And he talked to me about refinance, and I was like, okay, what are your thoughts? And I got 5 more years to work, and then I want to be in a position to where I either sell the house or refinance. Or like, well, let's put yourself in the best position financially. You're not strapped on cash. Why don't we do like a 15-year for the next 5 years? So we did a 15-year for the next 5 years, and at a great rate. And then when before he retired, he called. We visited again, and he had options. He could sell it, and he paid the mortgage balance so low that he was getting a bunch of cash, or he could refinance to a 30-year fixed. Again, I'm not against going back to a 30 because the balance is so much lower that now he actually ended up keeping the house, and it's in Carmichael.
Little old payment.
Yeah.
He rented it out now?
Yeah.
And it's making more money than he owe on it?
$2,700 a month, and the payment's only $1,350.
That's the kind of strategy that we need to be thinking, not for the moment, not thinking about, oh, you know, I want a TV because I'm, you know, or not TV, a swimming pool. I don't know why I said TV. I want a swimming pool because you're watching, you know, these folks and social media, and you're trying to live a life that's not conducive to what your long-term financial goals need to be. Or we're not even thinking long terms. And if the Lord say the same, we're going to all get old one day. And we're going to be needing assistance and needing somebody to care for us. And we need to be thinking financially about that. Not to say that you can't enjoy today.
Yeah, no.
You need to plan for both.
Plan for both. Look at all options. Talk to somebody and compare. I had a gentleman that came to me, and it was a pool. It was just recently, and I was like, okay, I'm happy. Let's take a look. Took a look at it, and his loan balance was close to $400,000. He wanted to pull out $60,000 for a pool. His rate on his first mortgage was 2.875. And if we took the cash out to get him to 60,000, his rate was going to be 4%. I was like, yeah, could do it, but why don't we look at a pool loan for a shorter period of time? Yes, it's at a little bit higher rate, but you're giving up 2.875 on a large amount of money versus we're talking about 60,000 at 5 to 6%.
Long term for a pool that preferably you better be using that pool every day, staying in the house for years.
Well, Sacramento is hot right now, 75 degrees out
I
right now.
know it is. It's a little warm in here.
Out in the water.
So we need to take a break. But when we come back, so I want to again say that at the end of the show today, so when we come back from the break, is the time that you will be able to win a swag bag and registration for the Anchor Financial Academy Financial Literacy Conference, March 25th and 26th here in Sacramento. We've got some great guest speakers. We've got an out-of-town developer. He's buying back the block in the city of Houston. And if you go to Instagram, his name is Chris Senegal. Look him up. He will be here in Sacramento, March 25th and 26th. He'll be here for the 25th for a fireside chat with the Sacramento Realtist Organization. He's going to be speaking to them and some very special invitees that we have coming to that event. The Realtist Organization's new president this year is Zaretha Thompson. Many of you know her from Goria & Thompson Real Estate, and she is working in collaboration with me with this event. Actually, it was her idea to do the fireside chat for the Realtist Organization for the real estate professionals here in Sacramento. So if you are a Black real estate agent, you want to know more about the Realtist Organization, go to sacrealtist.com and check them out. That event will be available. That event is coming March 25th. March 25th and 26th is Anchor Financial Academy. So that night will be open to the general public, and the next day, and Eddie's company will be sponsoring that event, and Eddie will be one of the guest speakers for one of the class sessions that we're having there, which is home ownership preparation. And there will be 4 other classes: credit restoration, investing, introduction to investing, cryptocurrency. I said home ownership preparedness. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm missing one. There's another class. I can't think of what it is, but debt. What's the word? Not debt restoration. Getting out of debt. How to live debt free. And I've got the book right here in front of me. So what I wanted to say was, when we come back from the break, someone will win a free registration into the event and a swag bag to the event. And we have with us right here in the studio, if you're watching online, the book that you'll get, everyone who registers will receive this book, Say Yes to No Debt. And it is consistent with one of the classes that you'll be taking that Friday evening, and an Anchor Financial Academy t-shirt. So this is in a swag bag that I have for you today. If you guess the answer to a question that I'm going to ask you when we come back from the break. So if you were listening from the beginning of the show through right now, then you should be able to get the answer correct. I am Agent Key. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE, and we'll be right back. I was trying to squeeze all that. It's hot up in here.
I got the door back. But they were kind
I know you closed it because they were talking.
Yeah, I don't want to.
But I was realizing, oh my gosh.
I feel great.
I'm looking at myself on camera. I'm getting shiny.
Your forehead is gleaming.
It's
I feel like heat is just coming down right here. I'm like, oh
this
Lord.
is one of the best days this year. I'm like, oh, thank God, everything about her. I can sit in the chair.
Miss Belinda, hey girl, hey y'all, thank you for tuning in. If y'all have any questions for Eddie, I forgot to tell you that if you had any questions for him, feel free to ask.
Somebody's calling on your breaking. Don't do it. Don't do it, because I know you.
It's probably a wrong number. Can you answer?
Let's take it like that. Yeah, we can answer.
Do we have time? Are we going to come back home?
No, you got time.
Are they?
Oh, oops.
Oh, good.
They
Okay.
call back.
All right.
They call back. You can answer. Well, you can always answer off air.
I always have the number. I don't say it. It's like
That's right.
921-5333. Okay.
It's right there in front
I
of
got
you.
a stick. I got it right here on the sticky tape.
It's right there in front of you, though.
Ooh, shoot. I know.
I feel like church back in the day. And
I know. Yeah. Here, look, you need that?
No, I just thought about it when you started fanning
you know.
yourself.
So yeah, I understand what you're saying. We were
God.
just talking about the other day. When my father first came to California, that was his church, and here were all this 30,000 kids sitting on the front pews. It was just us. Just us. And then they grew it into what they grew it to. Me and my brother was laughing about that the other day. Man, you remember that? Yeah.
No.
Every day.
With suits, with hats.
Man, every day.
I'm just like, it's hot.
YPWW. I'm like, hey, young woman.
And you had to stay suited up.
You had to stay there for the whole thing.
I remember there was a fan right here.
Yeah, it's another thing.
Okay. Is that because the weather changed?
Yeah.
That's all right. I'm good with it.
Man, I can function, man. I'm like, woo. You get enough of these injuries built up on you, you'll be happy to function. I tell you that.
Who's doing all this texting? Oh, Veronica was helping me out. Lewis Stein in Elk Grove. Yep, New Hope Construction by Winco.
So
That
are
is
you
correct.
gonna take a phone number when you call?
Am I going to take a phone number? I'm going to give them if it's somebody whoever gets the answer right, I'm going to have them to shoot me an email so I can get their registration.
Okay, so you don't need their number line. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just trying to prepare for everything. So if you were going to take a live phone call because you didn't want to give any personal information out, you would take them off there. But you don't need that now.
If it's somebody that answers correctly online, then I'm gonna DM them privately.
You don't want to answer from the phone.
I don't. What time is it now? 7.
Now.
I see 7. 1:51. Okay, so this is perfect.
I ain't answering it.
Oh, somebody calling already?
Yeah,
I ain't even gave the question.
I know, they're trying to get the jump. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Hey, we're back. I see the phone's ringing, but you know what? I didn't even give the question yet. So hang up, be fair. And I want to give Eddie an opportunity to give his contact information because I know that a couple of people have already commented and some of you out there may have some questions for Eddie. So I want to give you an opportunity to let the people know how to reach you.
I've got 2 contact points. Sales the best contact phone number. Work number is 916-549-3412. Again, 916-549-3412. And email, which is eddie.johnson@pmrloans.com.
Now say the phone number again because I'm typing it in the chat for everyone.
916-549-3412.
3412.
Yep.
Okay. So I just typed that in the chat for those that are watching online. And any final thoughts for those who are listening or watching with regard to how to prepare, how to get ready while we're waiting for this inventory that we know is coming?
Here's one piece. One piece that people come at me and they tell me like, I don't want to ask the wrong question. I don't want to take up your time. I let everybody know you're not taking up our time.
It's our job.
It's our job. We want to help.
Right.
So it is worthwhile for you. I sleep good at night knowing that I did my best to help everybody that I physically possibly could.
Yes.
Don't feel it. If you have a 480 FICO score, that's okay. Give us a call. If you want to put yourself in the best position, it might take 6 months to a year, but we can start down the path. We've worked with people for years.
Yes.
That are super excited.
That they've been ready.
And they take the picture from their new house, and, and it's excitement. It's a goal or it's a level that they didn't know that they would ever be able to achieve in their life. And we were able to help get them there. So to me, that's worth it all the time.
Yeah.
So
it's always exciting when I get a pre-approval letter in the pre-approval email from Eddie, where it says, congratulations, you've been pre-approved so-and-so. And I look at the name and I'm like, that name sounds so familiar. And then I do a search and it's someone who reached out 2 years ago. But Eddie has been working with them for that amount of time, or 6 months ago, or a year ago. And that's just a testament to the work that you do, that calling, and just, I always like to say, just have the conversation. You got to find out where you are and what needs to happen. And don't rely on your circle around you or people around you to advise you. Unless they're in this profession, then they just have good intentions and they can't properly guide you. Don't go it on your own when you have professional resources right within your reach. I want to thank Veronica Nelson for texting me during the show and giving me the name of the street that I was trying to think of off of Sheldon. That cross street is Lewis Stein Drive. She's right. And it's New Home Construction. It's next to the store Winco. So if you go to Lewis Stein and Sheldon and you look off to the south, east, north, the northwest, that quadrant right there, New Home Construction going up. And like Eddie said, it's happening all around Sacramento. So you look 2, 3, 4, 5, these next 5 years. Now, I'm speculating based on what I'm seeing happen. I'm not crystal balling it. I'm not trying to say this is exactly what's going to happen. I'm saying based on the activity, it's coming.
I could see all down Grant Line. It's already off the 50 corridor where East Bidwell is, all down 65, the backside of Roseville, West Sacramento. Arco, there's so much construction down next to the airport now.
And you know why they're doing that? Because the Centene campus is there. They threw that campus up in like less than 2 years. Multi-billion dollar, what do they call it? Fortune 500 company, insurance. So before we go, I want to give y'all an opportunity to win this registration. If you're watching, here's an opportunity for you to win. You can either be the first caller or the first person to type in the chat. We got eyeballs on the phone lines and I got eyeballs on the chat right now. The first person to answer this question: what are the 3 items that a lender like Eddie's going to be looking for that creates your financial snapshot? What are the 3 items? Give us a call here at 916-921-5333 or type it in the chat. First person to type in all 3 or to give us a call and say what those 3 items are. What is he looking for? There's 3 words in order to form the financial snapshot that you would need to start working towards a home mortgage. So I'm gonna I'm looking at both the line and the chat, and I just also want to add again, Anchor Financial Academy. This is what you win if you get the answer right. You get a free registration to the event March 25th and 26th. And it is, oh, the phone is ringing. Let's take the call. Do I need a headset? 97.5. Income, assets, and resources. Do we want to give it to her?
Your show.
Who am I talking to? Sonia. Hey, girl. So, well, Eddie said it's my show, so I'm going to give it to you. I saw someone put it in the chat too, but you said it first. So do me a favor, because I know you have my cell phone number. Text me real quick so your number comes back up, and I'm going to connect you. Sonia, you are our winner. You are very welcome, and I'm going to tell you how to connect and get everything to you. You're welcome. Take care, hon. Bye-bye. Okay. Yes, so I know who. Congratulations, Sonia. Woo! We will see you at the conference, lady. And ladies, Tara and Sean, Shalon, I see y'all all. And thank you. Thank you for playing, but it just wasn't fast enough. I don't know if I just didn't get it fast enough. But you know what?
Do it. I already see it. I see your brain thinking.
I am going to give away 3 more free registrations, t-shirts, and books to Shalon, Sean, and Tara. Because like Eddie said, it's our conference. It's my conference.
That's right.
It's my stuff. We can do what we want to do. So congratulations to everyone who played and participated. Sean, Shalon, and Tara, I will get that information out to you all. As a matter of fact, you'll be able to come right here to the California Black Chamber and pick up your registration and your goodie bag. And so I'll reach out to you guys, connect with you, and let you know how to do that. And you're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am past my time. And remember, if you're doing what you were created to do, I'll see you at the top. Hey, y'all. So I will connect with you. I'll DM you information on when you can come and pick that up from the chamber here. And if you can't get to the chamber, just let me know and we'll connect and get it to you some other way. All right, you guys. Talk to you soon. Have a good one. Eddie, you want to say bye?
Thanks for having me. We'll see you.
Not really, but you okay.
I'm already running.
I know. Bye, you guys.